Just hiked like 2 miles in, and it's like 100 degrees out here, so it's cooking. And I finally made it to the creek here, and I wanted to show you kind of what I'm looking at when I get down to the river. I got my gloves as usual. I like these rubber coated ones. I've got my rock hammer, which is actually just a modified regular hammer. Rock hammers are just as good or better probably. I've got my gad bar, which I think is one of my most important tools. I've got my standard tool kit. So of course I got my thin crevice tool, my slightly wider one, tweezers, flashlight, snuffer bottle, gold pan. My snuffer bottles are adjustable. You can adjust the tip out there, that way they pack up smaller. And of course I'm wearing my knee pads. It's warm enough out here today that I don't have a wetsuit on, but I do like wearing like a skin tight shirt. It just keeps the water from being on and off and on and off, keeps you just slightly warmer. So I'm gonna get in the creek here and we're gonna see if we can find some gold. See this dike right here going across this granite? This is like an upstream facing one. And then we go over to this side and we've got this crevice here, which is a downstream facing one. And it looks like that's pretty clean there. So maybe somebody cleaned it out before, or it's getting washed out by the river. There's a couple of fish swimming around there. But then this side over here you can see has big rocks in it. So I'm going to get down in there and see if I can work into this direction to find some gold. And then if not, I'm just going to keep working down and sampling as I go. As you can see here, this is the bottom of the crevice that I was just pointing out, and it's very hard packed, which I like. That means it's probably not been turned over very often, and it's open like that, so it's definitely capturing gold. But sometimes you just have to hunt around and find that key stone so you can get working your way down through the material. It's sometimes very tough. Well, despite the fact that that crevice was beautiful and I spent more time than I probably should have on it, I didn't spot any gold, and it's just too deep. I just can't get to the bottom, so I'm gonna move on. Gotta maximize your time, you know, and I'm just wasting time on that. I just can't get down there. It's too much material to move. Well, that first area of the river didn't really work out. I wasn't liking what I was seeing in the crevices, so I've moved down a little further, and this is what I've got now. You can kind of see here, this is a tight spot in the canyon here, so all the gold moving through here is going to basically have to move through this gap, and it's coming down here, and this is bedrock here and rough, and there's this big chunk of bedrock sticking out here with some rocks in between. So I'm hoping that somewhere around this, right in this area, there will be some gold. So I'm going to start down there and kind of work my way up around this a little bit and see what's happening. The first thing you always have to do is move the big rocks out of the way. You know, I'll take a look at it and then move big rocks out of the way so you can get to the bottom of these crevices. And the back of the crevice there where I was working was totally round and smooth, and there was nothing. So if you're facing upriver now, this is the right-hand side of the crack facing upriver, and usually I'll rake the loose material off after moving big rocks, fan it a bit, and sometimes I'll be able to see gold occasionally. It's up in this material, but most of the time I'm just trying to get down to the bottom quick because that's where the gold mostly is. This crevice looked really beautiful. It was packed right. It was the type I'm looking for usually, but it didn't have any obvious distinct drop-offs, and there was no gold in it. So I moved to the other side, the left side, and this side paid. So I found this chunk of weird iron conglomerate to start, and then I spotted this little chunk of lead in the bottom, which is always a good sign that if there's lead down there, that means that it's catching heavies. And I dropped my camera. But as I was working this rock down, you can see actually right here, there's a bit of gold there above my crowbar. And from my angle where I was looking, I couldn't see it very well, but I finally did spot it. And this turned out to be a pretty nice little nugget. And like I said before, this is a good sign now, because now I know it's capturing gold and other heavies, iron, lead, and gold all in the same pocket. And I wasn't to the bottom yet, so I knew I was into something pretty decent here. So that one I took up and I put in my bottle. Then I worked out all those other little stones, and I started fanning, and I spotted another nice bit sticking up here. It turned out to be nicer than I expected. We'll dig it out here, and pow! There it is, sweet. Another one, you know, 0.6 or 0.75 of a gram there. Can't complain about that. And then there was, we did a little tweezer digging here. You can only do this if it's loose because the tweezers are pretty weak. But a lot of the time I'll use them to dig with in the very bottom of the crack when I've got some looser material. But then I spotted another little piece here. And had kind of a quandary. I didn't know whether just to reach down and snuff it up, but I finally decided to grab it with the tweezer so you could see that there was fine gold in here as well. So it's always hard to pick up small pieces with the tweezers. And then I didn't know what to do with it. So I put it back down here and then I snuffed it up. But just so you guys could see what I'm finding, I usually will pick these little pieces up. If I'm just out on my own, I'm just going to use the snuffer to snuff them up. But now I'm using the snuffer as a blaster. There's a little pocket in the lead of this, and I blasted out another couple little bits of gold. And there's one nice nugget here, probably half grammer, and then there's another little bit behind it you can see there. So this pocket is really starting to pay off. And right there at the lead of it, of the hole there, there's a deeper pocket, and that's where those two pieces came out of. And then there's going to be another piece here in a minute. It's the nicest one out of the hole, but it was quite deep, 2 or 3 inches down there at least that I got to, and who knows, there might be more gold in it, but I couldn't get to it. So I'm blasting it out here, and I popped out another chunk. You can see there in the lead of the hole, and this was the nicest one in there, so I was pretty happy about it. But what really led me to this spot was the flow of the river, and I saw that little notch up there. You can see a couple stones jammed into it. A little notch there that was leading down into this drop off, and I knew that there was going to be a pocket there. So there's 3 of them. The other one went in the bottle, or 4 of them there. The other ones went in the bottle. I moved down and I saw this big, huge crevice, and it was getting towards late in the day, so it was getting dark. But I looked in this big crevice, this super crevice I'll call it, and there's this big chunk of steel there. You can see that round thing, and that was obviously a good sign there's heavies down there. But I had the camera off here, and I cleared it out, and I saw this. Like, totally awesome, man. And so I got the tweezers out. I didn't realize how big it was still at this point because I just saw the leading edge, and then bam, there's a nice one. That's the biggest nugget, man. Awesome. That is literally the biggest gold nugget I've ever found. Wow, that's got to be like 3 or 4 grams. Jeez, let's go see if there's more. Wow, I saw that big chunk of iron in there, and I knew that there'd be something heavy down there, and that is a big nugget. Wow. Sweet, I'm gonna go find some more. I gotta put this up on the rock here, right there. Stay, baby. Keep fast. Amazingly enough, that was basically it for that hole. One big nugget. There was a couple little flakes, I think, in here. But I chased this section all the way up, and unfortunately the flashlight really washes out what I'm looking at, but it's really clear to me and not clear to you, just the way the camera sees it. But this is right up in the lead of the hole. I'm holding my breath under the current, so it's very hard to take this shot. But there was this little tiny bit right at the bottom of this little drop, and it was packed with gold. So the gold was flowing down and over, and the back boil of the waterfall was pushing it back into this slot, which was sweet. I got to take a breath there to finish it off. But I finished this spot, and then I moved downstream to another spot that was almost identical, and I found a good bit more, but it was getting dark, and you can see how dark it is around where I'm working. And that was pretty much it for the day. I wasn't able to video much more. Okay, well, that was a really good day. I think I may have broken 2 of my records, and I've got this weird spinning halo over my head. It's a reflection off the fan on the roof. It's kind of cool. And I'm wearing my obnoxious tie-dye shirt because I really like tie-dye, and I'm having a celebratory beverage. Oh, yeah. And we're going to do a weigh-in. So first of all, we'll see what I've got in the bottle here. I took a lot of it out and put it in my my spare jar so it didn't bang around. I got a lot of lead. So we're going to take a quick look at it, and then I'll separate it all out and we'll do a weigh-in. I got my little scale here. So, but you can see here, oh man, the amount of lead I got. And I've got some dirty water in there, so we'll just come down here and look at that lead. Look at the amount of lead that I found. So obviously, lead, if you find lead or iron in your holes, that's a good thing. Most of the time, that means you're in the right spot for heavies to be trapped. And so I've got a huge amount of lead in here, and I got some good chunkers still in here in this one. So I got a little bit of mercury on it, but most of the stuff I found today didn't have mercury, which is nice to know. So we got all that there, and I'll pull this all out and we'll weigh it and you get a better look at it. And then we got this stuff. Oh, there's still more in there. Some littler stuff that I took out. Yes! This is definitely the biggest nugget I've ever found. Even bigger than the biggest one I found dredging. I found one, I think it was 3 pennyweights dredging. But this looks like it's a lot bigger than that. I'm not sure, I don't quite remember the size, but I found that one. This one here is probably maybe almost 2 grams by itself. I'm betting this one pulls 5 grams. 5 grams. So, I mean, look at that stuff. That's beautiful. I went to this spot because I thought it might have some junky gold, and sure enough, it did. So that is pretty awesome. We're going to weigh it. I'm going to separate this all out. We'll weigh it up, and we'll see what we got. So, first thing I'm going to do is weigh the lead, because I'm going to put this off as long as possible, like delay anticipation here. So I got all of the lead that I found in this, and I'm going to put it in this cup here. So I'm going to tear that cup so it's zeroed out. All right, 158 grams of lead, 157.91 grams of lead. That's how much lead is no longer going to contaminate my river. I feel good about that. Okay, now let's reset this. Got my little bottom of a cup base there. We're going to weigh the fines first. Put that in there. So there's the fines all in there, and I've got 3.83 grams of fines. Now we're going to weigh our nuggety stuff. So we'll add our nuggets to it. That's 5. Another one. 5.4. 6.77. My previous record was 7.8 grams. 7.5, almost to the record. 8.23, blowing past it. 9.12. 9.95 grams. Big boy on top. 15.78 grams. Half an ounce in one day. I got half an ounce, and hopefully you can see right there, 15.78. But here we go. Let's see how much these bigger ones weigh. Second largest one here is, oh, I gotta reset that. Second largest one is 1.39. Third largest, let's see here, 0.92. Okay, I'll do it. And the big one, I'm guessing 5. I'm guessing 5 grams on that right there. So here we go. 5.87. Yes! Dude, that's totally awesome. Wow. Over half an ounce in one trip. That's incredible. I'm going to have to go back to that spot. So that's really exciting. Over half an ounce in one trip. 5.87 grams. My biggest one, I broke my record twice this week for largest nugget. Found sniping. I found a 2 gram one. That one. Like 3 days ago or 2 days ago. And then I found this one today. So, wow. So, thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. I really enjoy doing this, and I enjoy making videos so that you guys can see it. And I always try to share as much information as I can, not telling you where I'm going, but otherwise I'll give you as much data as possible about how to get out there and find some good gold. See you next time.